Hello, everyone. My name is David Justice, and I will be hosting this week's meeting for Cluster API Provider Azure. We are a CNCF project, which means everybody here, please be kind to each other, and let's just be nice and have fun. Awesome. So this week's agenda looks like, do we have any PSAs? I don't think we do.
No PSAs. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I guess my open discussion thing is really more of a PSA if we want to do it now, because I don't think. So I'll go ahead. Just like last month, unfortunately, Kubernetes patches came out, and then we had some issues in the pipeline. The Windows versions from last Thursday are published, and I think we figured out a way forward to fix what broke. So probably by tomorrow they'll all be done. There was a CVE that's in these patches, so someone might be excited about getting them, but otherwise they'll be out tomorrow.
Yeah, and for CAPZ particularly also, they have this like KubeADM revert for the ephemeral storage requirement, which actually made the multi-control plane scenarios flaky on 120 plus, so that should fix it in 120, 121.
Oh, good. Actually, maybe the other thing to point out is, Nader, I think you had an issue for should we start publishing with 2004, and so I was actually planning to go ahead and do that with this release. So we'll have 1804 Ubuntu as well as 2004 versions, unless someone has a reason not to do that. I was going to go ahead and do that this time.
Yeah, that would be good, I think.
Great.
All right, just a quick recap. They will be out. When are you thinking they'll be published?
Assuming basically we have to revert to the last known working version, and then I have to start publishing again. And assuming that all goes smoothly, you know, it can take up to a day for it all to make it out. So hopefully tomorrow.
If somebody would be able to take notes as we're going on, anybody volunteer?
Nader is raising his hand.
I'll do it.
Oh, sorry, Nader, I couldn't see you. Thanks,
okay,
man. Awesome. All right, cool. So, Cecile, I think you're next up.
Yeah, so also sort of a PSA, I guess, but as we're getting closer to the release, we started working on the release notes for CAPI with the CAPI maintainers. I think we're hoping to get that ready by end of today, but in the meantime, since this is a really big release, there's hundreds of commits in it. I thought we should get a head start on our release notes and try to maybe highlight what our users should pay attention to. Like, what are the things in the release that we care about showing? Since like, I think it's going to be really hard to digest the entirety of the release notes. Like if you're a user and you're trying to go through every feature and bug fix that merged. So I started a doc, which for now just has like a really rough draft with like the generated release notes basically. And I'm not even sure that includes everything that it has to so far, because I was still trying to figure out how to get it from 0.40, but without stuff that went into the patches, since we branched off at some point after releasing from master branch for a while. So yeah, but everything, that's just to say, I'd love some help on that. If y'all want to collaborate, especially if you're a feature owner for something that went in that was like very notable, like change that should be called out in the highlights. I started writing down some of the ones that I think are highlights that we should expand on, like multi-tenancy, Azure machine pool improvements, and GPU nodes with the operator. But if you have other suggestions of things that are in the release that should be called out there, please add to it. And then let's write like a 1 to 2 sentence summary for each one to describe like what it does and why it's a big deal. So yeah, that's the doc. Everyone here should have access already, but let me know if you don't.
Awesome. That's a great idea, Cecile. Thank you for taking action on that.
Yeah, and also it doesn't have to be the person who wrote the code. I say like the feature owner, but if you are passionate about writing release notes and you didn't write the code, I'm sure like feel free to help out and collaborate. Like we're all working on this together. So
Absolutely. Awesome. Anything else that we have to cover?
I would say let's do a quick release check-in, just to make sure nothing has popped up since last time that we should be aware of.
All right. Do you want me to bring up the project board?
Yeah, let's look at the milestone, maybe like the release milestone. I don't know if the project board is up to date.
Yeah, we have
no,
one.
that's probably a good idea.
Actually, we should probably either get rid of that link or keep it up to date, because someone new coming into this meeting might see that link and see, oh, this is where they keep track of their items, and it's not.
Yeah.
I vote for removing the link since it's really hard to keep up to date.
050. No, 050. Yep.
So this was move cluster describer methods was something that we were thinking about pushing off to be next.
Yeah, let's move that. Yeah, let's move it to 05x. I think actually there might have been a comment since last time. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's move it.
Right. And we are. All right, so refactor remaining services following established pattern. This is something that would be non-breaking change, probably a breaking change at the actual API, like Go API layer, but nothing externally surfacing. Do we want to throw this to 5x? Ooh, and we could use task lists. Ooh, new GitHub features.
That's actually pretty cool. I think you, oh yeah, you see at the top it says 14 out of 16 tasks.
Yeah.
And if you're like back in the list of issues, it probably shows as well. Nice.
And we could actually create an issue from it.
Oh, let's do that.
You want to?
Actually, we would lose the history if we do that, but
let's see what happens. You created an issue in line and linked it. Yeah, neat. Do you want me to just close the issue or just leave it?
Yeah, let's just leave it with the other one since it has like the examples and the history.
So close the issue?
Yeah. This is a cool feature though, in general.
Indeed, indeed. So let's see what this did. All right, it's closed. Anybody remember EXP? What was it? Managed clusters?
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you fake me out and add that. All right, cool. What?
Oh no.
I guess that's what we get for beta features.
It's fine. You can just leave it like this. Or yeah. Okay.
There. Okay. So awesome. Let's move this milestone 05X. All in favor? All right. Yay. Let's do it. And thank you, Prabha. Okay. I think that is all. It looks like we have a clear backlog for 050.
So the one thing that we should probably check in there is the Azure cluster identity templates things. Like we should come to a conclusion on that later. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So the one we have right now that is changing this tests, I'm just having some trouble with updating the templates for like the CAPI test, because the cluster, usually what we're doing in the other ones is that we create the secret, but in the namespace, right? So we have the names, we create the namespace and then I create the secret and then run the test. But for the CAPI ones, I don't have the namespace because that happens in like the spec thing that's coming from CAPI repo. So I don't have access to do that. So I've been trying to create a different namespace and create the secret in it and then refer to it, but just like having some trouble getting it working. So hopefully I get that done. And then the other issue that I will, the other thing I have to do that I will create a different issue for is updating the actual templates and then adding a deprecation warning saying that this is going away, I guess, in the next release or something like that. That environment variables are going away. You have to use the actual cluster identity. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
Do we want to merge that before 050 though? I think we do, right? And then the other PR is 9, which is making the variables optional in the manager. That one's on hold, it's open.
Yeah, I was gonna do that. Like I'm working on it today and tomorrow. I'm hoping to be done by tomorrow. Are we expecting that our release is gonna be out? Like it's not,
No.
we still have all of next week, right?
Yeah. I think we should target end of next week for the release.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm planning to, like I've been working on it since yesterday, so hopefully it will be done in the next couple of days.
Yeah, okay. I was just saying we should probably put it in here so that it
Yes,
doesn't.
I'll create an issue and put it in here and
Okay.
then work on it.
Cool. I'll make my PR part of the milestone as well. And then I think that should be everything, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, somebody could probably take on the deprecation notice, in parallel. We can probably spread some of those tasks out.
Okay. If somebody wants to take it, I probably will get to it today. But if not, if somebody,
all right. Yeah, no worries.
Awesome. You can do.
I just didn't want to feel like everything was put on your shoulders, Nader.
That's okay. This PR have been like my longest running PR ever because of Calico. I blame Calico.
I think it is Calico's fault. Do we have any indication of, speaking of Calico, do we have an indication of when the next release of Calico will land?
It should be in the next couple of weeks, according to their schedule. They usually do 2 releases a quarter. So the last one was in like mid-April or something. So roughly around like the next couple of weeks. But like if I went on their Slack and they don't like have a date for it.
Okay. So. Thank you for looking into that.
But I did try with like their their nightly release, and it fixed the problem.
Yes. That's awesome. All right.
I'll actually create 2 issues, one for the deprecation and one for adding like the identity reference to the templates, so that if somebody wants to pick one of them while I'm still working on that.
Excellent. Thank you, Nader. All right. Do we have? So it sounds like we're focused pretty well into end of next week for the release. That's fantastic. This is nearly a year or so of work to get this next minor release. So this is significant. Just great job for everybody driving it to this point, and let's get this out and hopefully not take so long for the next one. Awesome. All right. Do we have anything else we want to cover today?
I could do a demo of tracing if people want to see it.
Anybody interested? We haven't had a demo in a while. This is fantastic. Yes,
it'll be really
Matt.
quick. All right, cool. Can I share screen, or do you have to give me that power?
Go ahead, you should be able to now.
All right.
Thanks, Cecile.
This will stop. Do I want to continue? Yes, I do. Wait a second. Let me make sure. Yeah. All right. So I'll make it a little wider. So I've had this PR out there for a little while, but it's not very well timed with respect to the release that we're doing. So I don't expect we need to merge it anytime soon. But essentially, this replaces the Jaeger collector and the stuff we're doing for tracing with the OpenTelemetry componentry. So it's more of an under the covers change. And it's been, and the significant thing it does is it lets you do traces from Controller Manager and send them out to Azure App Insights seamlessly, which is a nice place to view them. It's been sitting out here for a while, so I kind of went nuts on it yesterday, and I have another PR that eventually I'll put out there that adds Jaeger back in, because it seemed kind of like vendor lock-in or not quite kosher if the only place you can view traces is in Azure, where you might have to pay for it. So I put Jaeger back in there, and so let's hope this works. So at the beginning of the meeting, literally all the prep I did was make tilt up, and I got lucky with Calico, so it actually came all the way up. For some reason, Ephemeral failed, but I don't care. So I just started up Windows, so there would be some actual traces to look at. You can see now we have an OpenTelemetry collector agent and an OpenTelemetry collector resource. We still have a Jaeger all-in-one, although it's just for viewing traces, as we'll see in a second. Prometheus hasn't really been touched, although under the covers, all the guts have been upgraded to what is now OpenTelemetry 1.00 RC1, which is great, which means most of their APIs have started to stabilize, because this has been a real, it's the definition of an unstable API. So, but the nice thing you can do now is click on Jaeger all-in-one, for example, and you get this link here, view traces. That opens up the Jaeger all-in-one component, and you can just query for traces, and we should have some by now because we've been actually deploying stuff. And here we go. Let's find something that's interesting that took more than a second, let's say. Oh, here's a good one. 3 errors, probably from Azure. So this may be familiar to you, and actually this kind of thing was previously accessible, or is accessible in CAPZ, but I don't think we made it easy to get to. This is just running on in memory. It doesn't have a real backing store, like obviously Jaeger really should. But for development purposes, this is there out of the box. I don't think it's using a lot of memory, and it's super convenient for doing this kind of stuff. But then we're also, as long as you go ahead and put in tilt settings, a key to an Azure App Insights workspace, we send them here as well. It's a little hard to find because there's a million things here related to metrics, and we're not populating metrics, we're only populating traces. But if you click on transaction search, say, show me what's happened in the last 30 minutes, you get essentially a similar view to what we're looking at in Jaeger. Let's find a meaty one here to poke at. Come on. Well, half a second, something happened in here. So here's Azure's view of the a similar trace. That's it, pretty much. the overall take-home story, I guess, is you know, it's a big win for us to have open telemetry, which we already did, but now we're kind of all in on the OTLP, their recommended collectors and stuff like that. And the nice thing is, so we can collect everything in one way and then fan it out and send it to whoever we want. In this case, we're sending it to Jaeger, even though we're not collecting traces in the Jaeger's preferred format in the first place. Open telemetry takes care of all the conversion. So we're sending traces out to Jaeger, sending traces out to Azure App Insights. We could send them to Tanzu Observability. We could do all sorts of cool stuff. That's my demo. Any questions? Thank you.
That was cool. I totally love. I got to see how you did that link. The view traces.
Oh, it's pretty trivial. It's a one-liner in Tilt. Just does it for you. Say Kate's resource, and then you declare the port forward in a certain way, and it gives it a title like that.
That is awesome. You made that so much easier. Does anybody have any questions for Matt?
I missed maybe, Matt. Can you tell me how to set up the integration with Azure service?
Well, none of this has merged quite yet, but that PR that's out there, you could work with that one. And essentially, you need to set it in the environment or in tilt-settings.json. So it's really only intended for development. And it's in the README that's in the PR, but essentially if you add Azure instrumentation key and you set it to you go to overview for your app insights and you look over here in the upper right, it's this thing. So if you set Azure _instrumentation underscore key to that value, and then you do make tilt up, it'll just work.
Awesome.
And if you don't set it to that right now, you'll get a warning in tilt, which might be a little heavy-handed, especially now that we have Jaeger in there as a default. So we might think about changing that, because a warning shows up as, you know, it's kind of in your face here in tilt. So I guess my overall question is, what I'm showing you here amounts to an XXL. It's a huge ton of code change. And so I'll probably prefer to stage it the way it is now and have this be a follow-on PR. But I also don't want to distract from the release stuff. So just look at it when you have time if you can.
That was really awesome. I think we have a little bit of work to do to, you know, make that production ready and make it easy for folks to just turn this on. We also have an issue open outside of here in Azure Cloud Provider to also instrument that. So start to provide more observability across all of these, all of the Azure related stuff. So. Yeah, anything else? Any other questions?
Just on the same topic, we do collect some metrics and stuff. I wasn't blowing that off completely. And as you pointed out, it will be a huge boon to the community just to document what we're collecting and make that clear. So that's another task to do at some point soon.
Indeed, excellent point. All right. Anything else we want to cover today? That was a fantastic demo, and I please encourage anyone who would like to do a demo in the future, please do. We love seeing it, or I do at least. I don't want to speak for everybody, but that was a great job, Matt. Thank you. All right, with that said, we have one more week to sprint towards the finish line and get 050 out. I want to thank everybody for their efforts so far and look forward to getting this new release out and then talking about it with everybody. Awesome. All right, great. Thank you so much, everyone. And I hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.